Look at him, Sung Jinwoo, the Shadow Monarch. He's the ultimate badass, who started from the absolute bottom and climbed his way to the status of a literal god. We watch Solo Leveling and we cheer, get that dopamine hit every time he says arise. We think we're watching the ultimate power fantasy. But what if I told you that we've been looking at this entirely wrong? What if Solo Leveling isn't a story about a weak boy becoming strong? What if it is a dark psychological case study of severe trauma, radical behavioral conditioning, and the complete terrifying erosion of human empathy? Today, we are putting Sung Jinwoo on the psychological dissecting table. We are going to look past the epic fights and the leveling up to uncover how a ruthless, invisible system hacked a traumatized boy's brain, stripped away his humanity piece by piece, and turned him into the perfect, unfeeling predator. Buckle up, as the psychology of Solo Leveling is much darker than you ever realized. To understand the monster, we have to understand the victim. Before the system, Jinwoo was known as the world's weakest hunter. Psychologically, Jinwoo was living in a constant state of learned helplessness. He was at the absolute bottom of a rigid, deterministic societal hierarchy. In the world of hunters, your rank at awakening is your destiny. You cannot change it. Jinwoo was born into this brutal reality with a sick mother and a younger sister to feed. He didn't fight for glory, he fought for survival. Every time he entered a gate, he fully expected to die. And then, the double dungeon happened. His event wasn't just a physical near-death experience. It was a catastrophic psychological fracture. Jinwoo watched people get vaporized. He was betrayed by the ones who ran away. Ultimately, he was left alone on an altar, bleeding out, waiting for a gruesome death. When he wakes up in the hospital, he doesn't just wake up with a magical screen in front of him. He wakes up with massive PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and severe survivor's guilt. Why did he survive when stronger men died? Why did they leave him? The system didn't just choose a random guy. It chose a desperate, broken individual whose psychological defenses were completely shattered. It chose a blank slate, ready to be reprogrammed. Enter the system. This is where the psychological manipulation reaches a genius, almost sinister level. In psychology, there is a concept developed by B.F. Skinner called operant conditioning. It's a method of learning that employs rewards and punishments for behavior. You put a rat in a Skinner box, and if it presses a lever, it gets food. If it does something wrong, it gets an electric shock. Sung Jinwoo is the rat, and the system is the ultimate Skinner box. The system hijacked Jinwoo's brain by gamifying his trauma. Think about the daily quest. Seems like a simple workout routine, right? But look at the psychology behind it. Positive reinforcement. If Jinwoo completes the quest, he gets stats, health recovery, and items. Instant dopamine hit. Negative reinforcement. If he fails, he is violently teleported to the penalty zone, forced to survive a literal nightmare of giant centipedes for 4 hours. This is classic psychological conditioning. The system is rewiring Jinwoo's neural pathways. It is teaching his brain. Weakness equals pain. Obedience equals power. But the system doesn't just reward him for doing push-ups. It forces him to kill other humans. Remember the fight against Wang Dongsu's strike squad? Or the ambush by Kong Tishik? The system literally issued a quest. Kill them, or your heart will stop. This wasn't just self-defense. The system was deliberately breaking down Jinwoo's moral boundaries. It was forcing a process of moral disengagement. By making it a quest with a penalty, the system absolved Jinwoo of the guilt of murder. It whispered into his psyche, "It's not your fault you killed them. You were just following the rules of the game." As the series progresses, you start to notice a chilling change in Jinwoo. Yes, his shoulders get broader, his jawline gets sharper, and he looks incredibly cool. But look at his eyes. In psychology, this is known as emotional blunting or affective flattening. It is a common symptom in severe trauma survivors and sociopaths. As Jinwoo's physical stats skyrocket, his emotional capacity plummets. He stops feeling fear. He stops feeling anxiety. But tragically, he also stops feeling deep joy, connection, and empathy. When he kills human hunters later in the series, his pulse doesn't even spike. He views human lives the exact same way a gamer views NPCs as obstacles or stepping stones for XP. The most tragic part? Jinwoo is entirely aware of this. There are moments where he looks at his hands, and wonders if he is losing his humanity. He wonders if the voice inside his head is even his own anymore. This brings us to the true meaning of solo leveling. It's not just a cool title, it is a psychological diagnosis. Jinwoo is leveling up in absolute isolation, in the hierarchy of human needs. Love belonging. Connection. Jinwoo has sacrificed them all for safety and self-actualization through sheer violence. He becomes the Shadow Monarch, a ruler of the dead. And that is exactly what he has become inside. Emotionally dead. Perfect, unfeeling vessel for infinite power. Solo leveling is brilliant because it hides a tragedy inside a masterpiece of action. We cheer for Jinwoo because he represents the ultimate victory over a world that treats the weak like garbage. He took control of his destiny. But psychology tells us a different story. The system didn't give Sung Jinwoo freedom, it just gave him a different cage. He survived the double dungeon, but the scared, compassionate boy who threw himself in front of a statue to save his friends, that boy died on that altar. What rose up was just a beautifully conditioned weapon. What do you guys think? Sung Jinwoo a hero in control of his own fate? Or is he the tragic victim of the ultimate psychological manipulation? Let me know down in the comments, because this is one debate I really want to read. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the darker side of anime psychology, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next case study. Until then, keep analyzing.